Hey guys, me again. I gotta come up with something else to start these with other than saying it's me again each time. Anyway, this is the continuation of a product video that I had started to do as one, which, whoops, yeah, piece fell. May end up as all the same video. Seeing how this is actually one day of design, build, and shoot. I'll put that right there for now. What this is the continuation of the storage container project that I did. So while we're at this high angle, I'm going to show you a few of the features. Actually, let me just come down and we'll see if we can come down a little. There we go, a little bit better angle. Widen the shot a little. See what's going on. Okay. Since it wants to open up, I guess I'll start off showing you that part. So first up, I have the door. And it just sets in, although you could glue it in place permanently. I also did a secondary set of doors, which I showed you before, which were two pieces. So if I wanted to do a damaged version of it, or if I wanted to do a version where the doors opened outward, or even if I wanted to do them as sliding, I could do that as well. So those are the doors. Ended up doing a separate standalone gangplank type piece. So that would be that. It sits in there and it's like all the other pieces, it's textured. So I'm going to try and get that so it's in focus so you can see that there's a nice waffle texture on it to add a little bit more detail. Added some little engraved pieces that look sort of like headlights. And you can see down in there, there is the floor. The roof on it is also engraved, so there's a nice texture on the roof because I didn't want that big of a blank. This one, I haven't glued the roof in place permanently, and if you're building one yourself, I wouldn't recommend gluing it in place unless you're going to seal the entire box up so that you can't get in it at all. So that would be the roof piece. And what I did is I took 3 more or 4 more of those little light shaped pieces that I did and glued those to the inside. Because what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to try painting the lights so they look like they're on, and then paint little rings in the bottom so that it looks like there's light shining down on it. But that would be the roof piece. And then you have the interior, and the interior is engraved just like the rest of it. I actually went with a slightly more open pattern on it than I did on the gangway. Main reason being I wanted to try out both of them, but also the second pattern actually looks a little bit better when I go to paint it. So I'm going to see if I can get a different effect when I paint it, and depending on how it turns out, I'm either going to leave it or I may swap it out to do the closed pattern like I did on the other one. But I kind of like the look of this one. It gives you a little more wood, and it looks a little, gives you a little more space to paint. It should brighten up the inside of it. But it's your basic box. As I've shown in the previous video, there is another door style. And in the case of this one, I figured, I had put the retractable door on one side, so you got the big retractable door on one side, and then you have the open on the other, so that it would be as if you could pull things in from either side. And I like the design of the door. The door looked a little bit better than what the other ones did. This one is a little bit harder to put together than some of the other kits that I've designed, and mainly because this one is angled. So anytime that you have an angle, you have one of two options. You can either leave a gap that has to be filled, or you can chamfer the edges. See, now these are cut on a laser. You can't really chamfer the edges with the laser, so what you end up having to do is having to sand. So what I ended up doing was sanding these joints so that I can get them to fit fairly flush. There's still some gap filling that needs to be done, so it's like this one down here. There's a bit of a gap, same thing here. Those, I tried to keep the gaps on the bottom half as opposed to the top where you'd see it mostly. So those are a very tight joint there. Same thing with the top, and I'll show you this one. You can see that, and we'll see if it'll focus in or not. So that's what the edge would normally look like. There we go. That's what the edge would normally look like. And then you can see where I chamfered these to make it fit a little tighter. So when you put that piece in, it fits nice and flush. You don't worry. So the gap here is very tiny. And when it's painted, you'll never see it, which is kind of nice. Other thing that I did with these is you notice that there are little tabs that stick up. Well, there are tabs on this part and there are tabs on this part, and they actually line up. So that if you wanted to, and you have multiple of them, you can stack them together and they'll lock in place. So that way, if you're building a large amount of these, in which case I'm probably going to be building about 10 or 12 of them, just for my own use, that they'll all stack together. Other things that I've included were these little porthole vent things that you could actually, if I wanted to, I could glue some on, you know, on the sides, so that it would be as if it were a ventilated pod. All in all, though, it turned out to be a pretty good little project. It's a nice, simple project. As far as scale, let me grab one of my models and I'll show you some scale with it. So first we'll stick it next to one of the Tau Piranhas, so you can get an idea on the size of it. It's about the same, there we go, camera a little. It's about the same width and depth of one. So, I mean, you're not talking about a very gigundous model. If I go ahead and grab, you know, like a mini, you can see that it's a pretty decent size. So that way you've got a nice size comparison for it. I wish I had a larger fig. Unfortunately, I don't have any larger figs that I could show you. Well, why not? We'll go ahead and just for a height comparison, let you see what it looks like when we put the big statue behind it. As I fall off my chair. So it's pretty neat. All in all, it's a pretty neat one. I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get the camera down to what would be model eye level. So be patient with me. Take it off the tripod. Move the tripod out of the way. There we go. So this would be if you were down at model eye level looking at it. See, it's got a pretty decent height to it. It's not super large. It's just big enough for gameplay without being too much of a problem. So, I'm going to spin this around. Alright, get myself in shot. Whoa, need longer arms. Here we go. Zoom out a little. Okay, so that's it for this one. Take a look at, give me some comments, some suggestions if there's anything that you want to see different, or that you'd like to see me build. This one, I'm probably going to be shooting another video for it on the actual painting of it, because I'm about to start that today. This project actually came together really, really quick, which is nice. Simple one to build, and they'll be available soon. So read the little blurb underneath the video, and it'll show you where you can actually find out some more information about getting one of them, or how to contact me if you wanted one. So, until next time, take it easy, guys.